Welcome to the Onyeka show. In the studio we have Glenn Mena, Akave Erumena Glenn, born in Nigeria in 1985. He's a songwriter and a singer. He's currently living in South Africa. Hello, Glenn.
Hi.
We're meeting for the first time, but
Yes, we are.
I have heard so much about you from people who know you.
Yeah.
When did you move to South Africa?
It's been 3 years now. 3 years ago.
And how do you love living here?
Better than I did in Nigeria. First of all, standard of living,
Okay.
obviously. So yes, I enjoy it. And lucky for me, I met love my life here. So
I see. Little research I've made. You are. I don't want to talk about it, but you started it yourself. I want to talk about the love of your life.
Okay.
You position her properly.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you're not scared of. There is some sort of envy that comes with people projecting the good things that happen to their lives on social platforms. Aren't you scared of any repercussions or anything?
No, if you're doing it right, no, I don't think so.
You don't think you're endangering your life and the life of your loved one online?
There's a good point to that, because now you put yourself out there in the open. Everybody can see you. Everybody has the access to see almost the kind of person that you are just from your social platforms. So yes, that puts you out there at harm's way. But aren't you at harm's way every time? When you go out to the mall, you drive there. It's not completely safe.
Yeah, but there is also what they call a control mechanism. Like me, I had to leave Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I left everything. So I'm basically using my phone for WhatsApp, and whoever I have on my WhatsApp contact list is someone I can trust. Because there was a time I was kidnapped in Lagos in Ikoyi, because somebody messaged me on Instagram and said, "Oh, you've been balling in Rwanda. We'd like to meet you where your fans." And then they came to where I was filming my show in Linda Ikeji studio. And then they drove me to Ikoyi, where they used a gun to keep me for a while till my friend brought money to
get you out.
Yeah, so I see that. Sometimes when I see people putting up their pictures of their loved ones, their children, without covering their faces and all those things on Facebook or Instagram, I feel really, really bad for them, because it could happen to them. And
It could happen to anybody.
Yeah, it could happen to them.
That's a good point. But you see, hey, I just like to look at the better side of it. I tend not to really focus on the harms that might come with it. I try to.
No, I never thought there would be any harm. Like came with me being exposing myself and celebrating my happiness. I never thought
You're supposed to
I
be
was
able to
getting
celebrate.
anyone angry with it. But they say, "Oh, you're always performing like you're a big boy online."
But you're not forming.
I didn't have that in mind. I was only happy that I could go to anywhere I wanted to go to and put up pictures. But then I didn't know it hurt people.
Yeah, but that's not your fault that it hurt people.
Do you think this also affects your career as a musician?
When people tend to want to get into my private life?
Okay, let me explain. So in a situation where people would love to, probably you've entered your music video for an awards, and the jury consists of people who are angered that you're living a beautiful life, because there is what they call envy.
Yes,
And,
there is.
And then, do you think you have missed so many things because you look happier online?
I don't think I've missed anything at all. I feel like if anything is mine, it will still come my way.
Okay.
So if there's somebody out there that's feeling some type of way because of how I'm living my life, then it should be their problem and not mine.
Yeah, I understand the logic behind that, but there is reality.
Yes, there is.
That people are angry that Glenn Mena is happy.
Yeah, but I don't know who these people are in the first place. So do I start trying to fish these people out just to keep myself safe? No.
That makes sense. And you have won the Meyer Awards in 2013. How old were you then?
I can't remember when. I could say I'm not very good with maths, but I was 20. I was in school at Leeds City University in Ibadan.
Okay.
So this is a very cool story. So I got admission into OAU, Ile-Ife, Obafemi Awolowo University, to study geology. somehow, long story short, I ended up in biochemistry. Not by my choice, by the set of lecturers that did the oral exams. Then it was oral exams you take. You stand in front of 3 lecturers, and then they ask you questions, maths, English, or any other general thing. And I passed, but they said because I was from the Niger Delta, that geology was full. So they moved me to, they gave me a choice from zoology, botany, biochemistry, and microbiology. So right there, I had to make a choice. So I just felt, I didn't know a lot about, I didn't like zoology or botany. I couldn't go back to Warri and say, this is what I'm studying there. So microbiology and biochemistry sounded, much better. So I just picked microbiology there and biochemistry there. And that's how I landed in biochemistry in Ife. So when I was in it, I didn't like the course because I didn't really have a lot of, I didn't really like mathematics. I could do chemistry, physics, we could battle with it, but math, I didn't like it. So I had to deal with all of that. Made friends I didn't know that I would it. And how I knew that they pushed me to biochemistry and they picked the last guy because they told us geology was full and there's a long queue outside. So the next guy after me, his name is Ayo, is the captain now. Ayo got in there, did the interview, the oral exam and passed. And they picked him into geology. That's how I knew that there were selections. And Ayo was Yoruba, obviously.
Okay.
So anyways, got into biochemistry, didn't really like it, was pushing. Met a friend, told me I looked so good, I looked tall and skinny, that I could model from church. I was in Christ Embassy then.
Interesting.
So I was like, oh, okay. How do you do it, man? He said, I'll just take you nice pictures. You smile, you frown. His name is Chris. And that's how I went to the photo studio. That was the first time I ever been to a proper photo studio. It's called Pixels in school then. And then I took those pictures. He took them to Lagos and got me a gig. Well, not a gig, like an audition. That's the first time I'm going to Lagos by myself before I would go on holidays with my parents. So I went. He told me when you get there will be a lot of other boys, good-looking boys, So
why did they emphasize on that?
Because they were models.
Okay.
And they were male models needed for that job. So when I went there, I saw guys with different kinds of hairstyle. Like the looks, the whole outlook was different. It want to make you get intimidated, at some point. So I went in, they told me to smile, I did. They requested for a side profile, I did that. And then they told me to go outside. They asked me why was my name Glenn. I said, that's the name that I have. They wanted to know the meaning, I told them. And then went out, and then we waited for everybody else to finish. And then long story short, they came to call the result, and they picked me and some other guy, his name is Sheun. And we were supposed to do a Nescafe job. Just take like a cup of tea and smile and drink. That's how I got that gig. And they paid quite good money there. And I didn't really like biochemistry, so I just focused on modeling.
Interesting.
So I'd go for runways, and then it affected my academic, and then I dropped out. And then my eye clear.
What did your parents say?
I didn't tell them. I didn't tell them at first.
So you want to first lie.
So I started to, no, I wasn't lying, I was just trying to keep them away from that worry. You know how parents are.
But they were wondering that you were still in school, and they will give you money, right?
Yes, no, normal.
That's high.
So yes, I started to find admission. I tried to get back into Ife once, but it didn't work out. So I heard about Lead City, and I wrote for it, got in there.
And that's how the Maya was happening.
Yes, so it was in Ibadan when I was schooling there. I kept doing my music. That's how people found out who I was, and then I got nominated.
Your song Packaging, we always talk about packaging, right? What inspired it?
I wanted to, then I just finished school, finally. I just finished from Lead City. So I wanted, the last year of school, I didn't really focus on music because I wanted to do my project, and graduate well. So when I did that, I needed the song to come back. To say, okay, this is where I've been. With Packaging, the first verse was people asking, Glenn, where you did? Movement now 2 years, because that was my first big single. Movement now 2 years, where you don't do? What do you do? So I was like, I've been upgrading youth service because I was doing my NYSC then. Youth service had me fluctuating, but I'm back now. We are rearranging. Shout out to Master Music for coordinating things.
Okay. How often do you release songs?
Hey, it depends on how I feel, man. I can't say I do it once in a year or twice. If I like this music so much, I want to put it out.
No, but as me, I've been into the music business for a while, and I was told when I was living in France, working for record labels, I used to be on tour with Asha and Sean Kotida.
I like Asha.
Yeah,
I like Asha.
I was on tour with them for a while. So I was told that you have to release songs every month to be able to stay in the eyes, in the limelight.
Stay relevant.
Yes.
That's actually a good point. I think that actually affected my music when I was in Nigeria for most of the times, because when I drop a song, it's catching fire, and then there's a long gap.
Exactly. It
between
changes
before
the
next
momentum. Yeah. So have you changed that now, or are you still doing that same way?
I think I release songs a lot more frequent than before.
How often? That's what I know.
I say 4 months.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why?
Because I also have a life that I live too, besides music. Music, what has actually
So
kept
what
me-
is the other life you live?
I do a lot of other things.
Tell me about it.
Well, I'm into IT in the
Okay.
first place. I think IT is going to change the world.
Okay.
Like, for example, in South Africa, I was discussing with my wife. We found out that, like for example, Uber. Uber is a company that doesn't have no taxis.
Yeah.
There are no taxis. In fact, if you have your taxi, you'd have to go to Uber and have them register you with your own taxi. Normally, before what we know, these companies will buy cars that they will use, but no, they didn't do it. They just created a platform for it. So we were thinking that there's no platform for. I've started to get fond of drawing tattoos. I really like it.
Can I see
I
that?
don't have a lot. I have just 4 on me. Anyways, I noticed that wouldn't it be cool to have an app where I want a tattoo, but I don't want to go to a tattoo shop? How about I go to this tattoo platform to find a tattoo artist close to me? I request for them.
And they come to you.
get the job done. I pay them, and me, the creator of the platform, gets my percentage from that, just exactly like Uber does. So we started to research about it, and we found out that there are no apps like that here, and the only app available.
Are there same apps in the US or the UK?
No, actually, there's only one app like that we've noticed. The last time we checked, though, I don't know about now, and it was in the Netherlands.
Oh yeah, places like that there should be.
So like this is actually good business opinion, a good business prospect, because if I work in a tattoo shop and I close, I might still want to make more money. I could just go online on the app.
Okay, I'm sorry, I have to cut you. We have to go on break now, and when we come back, we'll continue the discussion on IT. And you also tell us the full meaning of IT.
Yeah, no problem.
Welcome back to the Onyeka show. In the studio, we still have Glenn Mena, and we were talking about IT. I'd like to know what IT means, because in school we used to call it introductory technology.
Yeah, that's true though. In school, that's what we call it.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to know the full meaning of IT.
I think it's information technology.
Information technology. And why are you fascinated by it?
Because of how it changes the face of business.
Yeah.
You probably you not necessarily you don't even need an office to operate. I like how it changes the face of business.
Well, is there anything wrong with the physicality of an office?
No, there's nothing wrong.
Nothing wrong.
There's nothing wrong. But offices can also operate without the physicality of like a physical office. Like during the COVID-19, we realized that during the lockdown that people can actually get their jobs done without going to the office.
Oh, well, I'm not sure it caters to the kind of business that.
It depends on the kind of business, I'm sure, but most companies realize that their staff base would work from home rather than going
because
to the
someone
office.
like me, I do not like reading ebooks.
You like the proper
Yeah, I like. I mean, like in my room, I have about maybe 1,000 books.
So 1,000 that you've read?
Not read. I've not read all of them.
Oh, okay.
But I also love the feel of books, the smell of books. If you bring a bag of books where I am inside this room now, I know you just brought.
My wife will be very good friends.
Interesting. So and that takes us to some writers whose books were not being bought during the COVID thing, So people will say, oh, it's been shipped and all those things. But I'm also very much interested in your music. That's where I'm very much interested.
Thank you.
Do you do performances, live performances? And if you do them, where have you done performances?
Okay, I have the best live performance I would say I have done.
You play the piano
And the guitar, yes.
Interesting.
I do.
That's not much. I think 5% of Nigerian musicians, or 10, play instruments. Others are mimers.
Yeah, you could put it that way. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then why are you not very much focused on doing your music, like releasing songs every month or twice a month?
Okay, I think it's because of how I started. Recently, the sound has changed. The music has been getting a lot of attention, so it's giving me a lot more motivation to say, you know what, you can focus on this one now. You know, because back in Nigeria, it was difficult. You had to find other ways to make ends meet, because at the end of the day, you have to make ends meet.
But weren't you living with your parents?
No, I wasn't. I moved to Lagos as a model.
Okay. Your parents live where?
I live in Warri.
In Warri, okay.
I grew up in Warri.
Okay. Now I get it. Okay.
So yes, you're saying with the music.
Yeah.
So yes, now there's now more motivation to keep putting out music. Before, when I would make my music, the people I started working with, they didn't really feel me rapping. You know, they just say, you have a really good voice, so just sing, just go along with singing. And then when I got independent, I was like, this rap thing, it's not like I'm a rapper, I'm just talking now. As long as people can understand that I'm making the point, who cares? So I started to do it. I started it with Sound It after my NYSC. Sound It didn't have any instrumental, it was just the beat.
I don't know what that means. Can you explain what Sound It means?
So Sound It means make it loud, Sorosoke. That's what Sound It means. And I did this in 2015.
And what is Sorosoke?
It means speak up in Yoruba. I understand a little bit of Yoruba because I schooled that side.
Okay.
So yeah, so I started to do it, and Sound It got a lot of love. So I decided to just infuse it in my music. If I hear a beat, if I feel like rapping to it or talking to it, I do it. It's just how I feel.
The Hades list was out yesterday.
Oh, it was? I didn't know.
Yeah, you see, it was out yesterday. What are your reservations about awards you're not visible in?
Well, awards music in the first place is supposed to go with the times.
Okay.
Like musicians are supposed to be able to infuse their craft to talk about what's happening at that particular time. That's what music is supposed to be, and then not disputing those that do it for the craft.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like in those days, Fela would do that. He would sing about what's happening in the times.
Right.
Miriam Makeba in South Africa would do that. Hugh Masekela would do that. But hey, these days, man, it's really not like that. People are a lot more focused on these awards, and that was what these awards were supposed to be meant for, to award these people that their music talked about the times and it effected change. Okay. You know. But hey, it's not like that.
Do you do music for activism?
I wouldn't say no, because recently I finally did a song that I talked about what was going on. Normally I don't really.
What did you talk about?
It started with Still Monday. I spoke about the NSARS.
Okay.
And it was fire. Even after I was done with that recording, you sit back, you listen to your own music now. Yeah. So I listened to it and no, I was like, yeah, I talked about this thing so good. Maybe I should start doing this, because that's what music is actually supposed to be. Aside the craft, now some people are really talented. They know how to put music together and to come out, go be it R&B or this or that. But you were supposed to talk with the times so that people at that time can relate and say, okay, this is what this person was talking about. So yeah, I think I'm going to start making a lot more conscious music like that.
And to talk about activism, how much were you involved in activism when you were in Nigeria?
In school, activism in Nigeria for me happened only in school. That's why we were so surprised when this wave started with NSARS. It was in school, Luther fighting for water, fighting for electricity during exams. Yeah, that's what for people get killed during those processes. So that was my first encounter with struggle to fighting the powers that be. And then NSARS started.
Did you ever go to prison?
Did I ever go to prison?
Yes.
You want to hear the story?
Yeah, I would like to hear, because I was in prison in Nigeria. I was in prison in Rwanda.
I've been to Nigeria. No, I've just been in prison in Nigeria.
No, I was in prison in Rwanda by Paul Kagame imprisoned me. The president of Rwanda in prison.
What was the experience like?
It was horrible. I was sleeping on the bed floor for 8 days.
Food?
So it was the intervention of Obi John Moleshe and Kadagomi out of prison. That was 2018.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so I would like to hear of your own.
My story is
it's not close to mine.
No, it's not. So I was in secondary school. I was in SS2.
Yeah.
But I'm a huge Arsenal fan, right?
Yeah.
And I love football. So I think there was a Champions League finals between Barcelona. I can't remember the other club. But it spilled in, so I sneaked out of school, the boarding house. I sneaked out to go see this game. So I was there, and then it spilled into extra time, and then penalty shootouts. You know it would take longer.
Mm-hmm.
So when this game was on, it was like 11:30 to almost 12 at night. So I just started trying to find my way back in school, and then the cop stopped me. Like, where are you going to? Who are you? Where's your ID?
So you didn't go to prison for activism?
Nah.
So that's
that
not
one is not the same story.
I was having a conversation with someone yesterday, and I said, it's very weird that I do not understand how someone would sit down to watch football.
Really?
Yeah, and the person also said he also finds it very weird that someone would sit down and read a book.
I don't know. I don't understand why you won't sit down and love football.
No, I'm not condemning anyone, but it's just that
That's how
I don't
I see
understand.
it.
I have siblings who will sit down. My eldest brother will sit on the floor, and watch my father too. My father, and I will just stand by the door and be watching and say, "Are these people okay?" You know. Then also they think I'm not okay by sitting in a room
Just
alone reading a book.
No, that's beautiful actually.
So, so do you have things that you consider weird that people do, and why?
Things that people do that are weird, and why? Yeah, a couple of things.
Let me know.
Let me just say something that just comes into my mind.
Yeah.
How do you cry on a video on social media and it's supposed to be serious?
I know someone who does that a lot in Nigeria, will be frankly.
And you're not acting, but you're making a video of the tears as you're crying.
Yeah, who does
I don't. I think that's
who
weird.
does that a lot.
I think that's weird.
Is that all?
Hey, that's the one that comes into mind.
Okay, so you don't have a lot of problems.
Hey, everybody has problems, bro.
I say a lot of problems. When are you releasing your next work?
I'm thinking before the first or second week of January, and then I'm planning to put out a body of work, which will be my first album. So
an album.
Yeah, before the end of April, we should be able to put that body of work.
Do you have a title, tentative title or something?
At the moment?
Yeah.
Yes.
What is it called?
Yellow Bulb.
Yellow Bulb.
Yes.
Bulb, B-U-R-B.
Yes, BLB.
Interesting title. Sounds like something I write out. Something like Beautiful Nubia will call his album.
Hey, I used to like his. I've always loved his songs.
Yeah, I know. I think I listen to music based on the personality of a musician.
But their personal life should not be. If you try to infuse it too much into their craft, you might end up hating the craft. Like for example,
because I fell into a trap. There was my favorite musician. I met him, and then he was an asshole.
Who is that?
I don't want to mention his name.
I wish you
His
could.
album was my favorite album.
Nigerian musician.
Yes.
Okay.
I met him, and his album was the best thing I ever heard in Nigeria. Then I met him.
I wish I could know his name.
I'll tell you later. This guy is horrible. He knows himself. I'm sure if he's watching this, he will know himself. So then he released another album, I think 2 weeks ago.
Did you like
He now
it?
called it gospel music, and it's bullshit. But then again,
You know, you could if you like the personality of an artist, and then they put out music. That you liking just that their personality can influence you loving their music, you know. And then as soon as you hate that personality,
yeah, it was.
The whole music becomes-
Yes, that's what happened. So his new album was crap for me, but I'm hoping that Yellow Bulb is going to blow my mind.
I would like you to enjoy Yellow Bulb without my own
No,
personality.
don't worry, once you verse me, I'll delete it from my iTunes. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up my show now with you, but I would like to know what you would want young people to think about, and also people who look up to you, your last final words to them.
Yeah, so someone asked me one time saying, Glenn, we like you, we like how you make your music, we want to be like you. So I don't get it. You can't be like me. So you have to like be kind of your own self. Yeah. So that's what I'd tell anybody.
Okay.
To be the best version of themselves.
Thank you, Glenn.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for coming on the Onyeka and Wello show. And here we come to the end of the show. Keep reading.